This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. Culture refers to beliefs, values, and codes of behavior upheld by a community that distinguishes that community from other communities. Organizational culture, therefore, refers to values, norms, principles, assumptions, and patterns of behavior that distinguish one organization from another one. Understanding different cultures and their influence on business performance is very important. Management, on the other hand, refers to the process of managing people to accomplish set goals and objectives using available resources efficiently and effectively. Management tasks involve planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. This essay explains the effects of organizational culture on managerial decisions and how culture can influence managers to make decisions. Effects of organization culture on managerial decision. The effect that organizational culture has on managerial decisions depends on whether the organization has a strong or weak culture. Organizational culture determines the decision-making process as well as decision-making speed. Some cultures permit all employees to participate in the decision-making process. Other cultures only allow the management to make decisions. Those organizations that allow all employees to participate in the decision-making process might take longer to make decisions due to the lengthy process. However, such decisions are likely to be effective since they incorporate different ideas from different people. Organizational culture determines the kind of employees that an organization will hire. The culture that exists determines who should be hired by the organization. Clear guidelines are written down to specify the qualifications required for a specific job. Good criteria exist for recruitment, selection, promotion, laying off, as well as retirement. In this case, the management has to comply with the criteria. Organizational culture determines the level of formalization. Formalization in this case means the extent to which written rules and procedures are followed in an organization. Organizational cultures with a high degree of formalization make it easy for management to regulate. This is because there is a clear outline of how one is expected to carry himself or herself out, and so the employees strictly follow rules. Organizational culture determines the level of empowerment in an organization. Some cultures allow low-level employees to make decisions on their own whenever necessary, as long as the decisions are in line with the set goals and objectives of the organization. This means that the top management is not the only authority allowed to make decisions, but also other lower-level employees. However, these decisions have to be approved by the top management. Organizational culture may hinder change. A culture that is too rigid may hinder the effective implementation of change. This is because employees may not be willing to incorporate new changes due to fears of, for instance, losing their jobs. This means that the efforts of the top management to implement changes might not be effective. Organizational culture determines the kind of relationship that exists within an organization. When there is a good relationship between low-level employees and top management, or between employees in different departments, then the working place is freed of unnecessary tension, creating a good and productive working place in the organization. As a result, the top management decisions will always consider the low-level employees, and consequently, there will be motivation and loyalty of all employees in the organization. This means that everyone will work hard toward the achievement of organizational goals and objectives. Influence of organizational culture on decision-making. Organizational culture may give a manager more room for the authoritative style of leadership. A culture that only allows the top management to make decisions will give room for authoritative leadership. This is because it is only the managers who make decisions, and so the opinion of other low-level employees may not be taken into consideration. The low-level employees will have to obey the orders from top management without question. This may not be favorable at all. Organizational culture can also influence managers to be role models. In cultures where leaders walk their talk, managers always strive to maintain good conduct. They will reinforce the desired values by the way they act or behave. Organizational culture can empower the manager to reward those who excel and punish those who disobey the set rules and regulations of an organization. When a certain culture gives criteria on the behaviors that should be awarded as well as behaviors that should be punished, it becomes empowerment for the manager to take the right action following the criteria. Conclusion: organizational culture has a big influence on managerial decisions, as the culture determines the success of decisions made and their effectiveness. It is therefore important for managers who make everyday decisions to understand the culture of an organization and see if the culture helps the organization achieve its goal. The management should also create a better working environment to enable a good culture. If you want to find more works like this research paper on effects of organizational culture on managerial decisions, head over to ivypanda.com. It has a collection of free samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects. No registration required to access it.